Dear friends, welcome back to the series on physics of solids. In the last session, we started a discussion on the lattice vibrations. There we were discussing about the vibrations of a one dimensional monatomic lattice. So, there what does a one dimensional monatomic lattice means by? Here you are assuming a lattice to have only one atom in a unit cell, and all these vibrations were assumed to be either only in one direction, and the atoms were assumed to be connected with each other with spring like configurations with spring constant beta, and we assumed a displacement which was designated by un, and then we based on the basic force equation of motion, we derived or ended upon calculating the frequency of vibrations which this lattice wave and the lattice vibration wave possess. So, in the last session we ended up on two expressions for the frequency. One was in the long wavelength limit which is at lower frequency, and the expression was root of beta by m into Ka, where beta is the force constant, m is the mass of the particle which is vibrating, one single particle, k is the wave vector, k is equal to 2 pi by lambda of course, and a is the distance between two atoms in the neighborhood. And one of the other assumptions which we assumed was that the vibration which is incorporated in one atom, say atom n, is generating a vibration only in its neighborhood. So, that was one of the assumptions which we made in this derivation. So, in the long wavelength limit you have omega equal to root of beta by m into Ka, or other in the other all general cases we have 2 into root of beta by m into sine of Ka by 2. And in the last class, the last session we decided that we will embark or try to plot a dispersion plot in this session. So, let us try to do that. So, what does a dispersion plot means by? Dispersion means that how the frequency is varying with the distance. So, here what is the distance which we are talking about? We know that in the earlier sessions in this series we talked about the reciprocal lattices, and we told that a lattice, when it is interacting with a wave, it behaves like a reciprocal lattice, right, and the unit cell of a reciprocal lattice is called a Brillouin zone. So, which means that when we are discussing about the dispersion plot in this situation, the lattice vibration situation, we are essentially talking about an x axis which is made of k. So, and the boundary of the vibrations could be approximated to be the boundaries of the first Brillouin zone. So, do you remember what was the boundary of the first Brillouin zone? If you remember, it was from minus pi by 2a to plus pi by 2a, right, where a was the lattice constant, right. So, in this dispersion plot also, as you can see in the image there, in the y axis you have the omega which is the frequency, and in the x axis you have the k which is from minus pi by 2a to plus pi by 2a. So, y minus pi by 2 plus pi by 2, it is because it is the Brillouin zone limits. Now, if I plot those expressions, you have two expressions. In the long wavelength limit, you will end up in the plot, as you can see in the image there, with the dotted lines, right, and in the general case is with the solid lines, which is a function of the sine. It will behave like a sine function. And as you go in further lattices, further Brillouin zones, second, third Brillouin zones, it will be repetition of the same thing. The slope of the dispersion curve is what? The velocity, and the plot tends to bend downwards. So, that is the general characteristic of the dispersion plot for a one dimensional monatomic lattice. So, it is having, the point to note is that it is having only one single branch which is bending downwards, which is a function of the sine. Now, another thing which we wanted to discuss was about how does this wave behave in terms of its phase velocity and the group velocity. So, what is the phase velocity and the group velocity? How does they differ? Are they two different parameters? One of the best analogy could be a group of marathon runners, right, a group of people, say they are running a marathon. As you know, for a marathon race, all the runners will be standing behind a line and they will start at the same time. So, initially what is the picture? Initially it would appear that all of them are running at the same speed, but as the time passes, this group of marathon runners will spread out, or in terms of or in the physics terminology we will call it as they will start dispersing, simply because each runner in the group is running with different speed. So, if you think of phase velocity to be like the speed of an individual runner, then the group velocity is the speed of the entire group as a whole. So, that is how the phase velocity and the group velocity connected. So, phase velocity is the velocity of the individual runner, whereas the group velocity is the average velocity of the entire group. So, it is very clear that most often the individual runners can run faster or slower than the group as a whole. To stress this analogy, which is connected to which we need to connect it to the dispersion term, right. So, we note that the phase velocity, which I designated by Vp, say Vp of the waves are typically larger than the group velocity of the waves. We are not talking about a marathon runners, here we are talking about a group of waves, right. So, however, this really depends on, if the Vp is higher than the Vg, really depends on the property of the medium. The medium in which the group velocity equal to the phase velocity is what we call as a non-dispersive medium, but the medium in which the group velocity lesser than the phase velocity is called normal dispersion, and the media in which the group velocity is higher than the phase velocity is called anomalous dispersive media. So, now it is very clear to you that one can emphasize that the dispersion is a property of the medium in which a wave travels. So, what is the situation here in the case of one dimensional monatomic lattice? Earlier also we know that we have two kind of expressions, one is the long wavelength and the general expression. So, let us take the long wavelength situation. So, phase velocity is equal to omega by k because of the individual. So, omega by k is equal to, if we take the expression for the omega in the long wavelength limit, that will come to be root of beta by m into a, which is equal to the sound velocity, which was an expression which we assumed already. and the group velocity, which is the average, right, which means that you are essentially taking the slope. So, which is equal to delta omega by delta k, but in this expression for the omega, that will again come to be root of beta by m into a, which is equal to v into s, Vs, which is the sound velocity again, which means that at the long wavelength limit, the force of a long wavelength wave incident on a linear lattice generating an elastic wave is not able to distinguish between atomic positions, right, and which means that which can be extended that there will not be any difference between inhomogeneous and a continuous medium, or the interatomic space is so small compared to the wavelength. And what will happen at a higher frequency or in a general situation? Again we calculate the phase velocity and the group velocity. Here you will see a difference. The phase velocity is equal to 2 by k into Vs into sin k by 2, whereas the group velocity, which is delta omega by delta k, is equal to Vs cos k by 2. So, here you know that the group velocity and the phase velocity are totally dependent on the value of the k. What is k? K is 2 pi by lambda, or it is the frequency. So, thus both the phase velocity and group velocity are dependent on k, or in turn the frequency, and this phenomenon is what we call as the dispersion. So, here in the general situation we are observing a dispersion. When that means what? As the wavelength decreases, k increases, right, and as the k increases, the discreteness of the lattice becomes more significant, because the atoms begin to scatter the wave. Now, what is the ultimate situation? Now, let us assume the highest frequency, right. So, there it will come to be omega is equal to, based on our general expression, 2 by k which is a sine function, and we assume the highest frequency omega will come to be root of 4 beta by m for k is equal to pi by a. So, there the phase velocity will be omega by k, and that comes to be a finite value. So, what will be the value of delta omega by delta k, group velocity? That will come to be 0, because there is no k dependence in explicit k dependence in the expression for omega at the higher frequency. So, group velocity equal to 0, which means what? We are essentially visualizing a system, a situation of a standing wave, where literally we can tell the wave is not really moving forward, right. So, therefore, in conclusion, what normally calls it as that the linear lattice, the one dimensional monatomic linear lattice acts like a low pass filter that can pass the frequencies between 0 and root of 4 beta by m, right. So, therefore, this kind of a situation of a linear lattice can be very well be approximated for different kind of theoretical situations where we need to invoke the low pass filters. Now, that was about the one dimensional monatomic lattice. Now, let us put more atoms into the lattice. We call it a one dimensional diatomic lattice, and which means that we are assuming two different kinds of atoms, which we call it as M1 and M2. So, there are two classes of atoms, M1 and M2. It is like sodium and chlorine, right. So, M1 and M2, two different masses. in the image as you see there is a sphere kind of particle which I noted by M1 and the star shaped particle which I denoted by M2. And we take the kind of designations which we put in the last session. UN is the displacement of the nth atom from the equilibrium, which is nth atom is, as you can see, it is an M1 atom, and UN plus 1 is the displacement of the n plus 1 atom, which is a M2. In the n plus 1th position, you are having a atom M2. Say for example, M1 is sodium, M2 is chlorine. So, okay. So, n plus 1 the atom is a atom M2, and correspondingly you can have UN minus 1, UN plus 2 and all those of things. And first we write the equations of motion. M1 d squared UN by dt squared is equal to beta into UN plus 1 plus UN minus 1 minus 2 UN. It will be easier for those people who remember the derivation which we did in the last session. So, I am not repeating those kind of things which we told in detail in the last session. So, M2 into d squared U n plus 1 by dt squared is equal to beta of UN plus 2 plus UN minus 2 UN plus 1. And what we did there, we assumed a travelling wave solution for the expression, and if you remember, UN is equal to A into A exponential I omega t minus k n a, and UN plus 1 is equal to B exponential I of I omega t minus k n plus 1 a. And therefore, similarly, you can always assume the other displacements also. UN plus 2 equal to A exponential I omega t minus k n plus 2 a, UN minus 1 equal to B exponential I omega t minus k n minus 1 a, and so on and so forth. Now, if we substitute or substitute the expression 10a into the expression 9a, you will see that, which is the force equation, right. So, the expression for UN is being introduced into the force equation, M1 into d squared UN by dt squared equal to M1 d squared by dt squared A exponential I into omega t minus k n a equal to, which we carry out, if we carry out the differentiation, you will end up in the expression minus of M1 omega squared A exponential I into omega t minus k n a. So, again we follow the same thing, scheme where we did for the which we did for the one dimensional the monatomic lattice. So, in the right hand side of the equation 9, we substitute UN plus 1 and UN minus 1, and simplification we will get beta into b e raised to minus of I k a plus b e raised to I k a minus 2 a exponential I into omega t minus k n a, right. You should try to, you can always try to derive it yourself. It is very straightforward derivation. So, thus from the equation number 11 representing the left hand side and equation number 12 for the right hand side, we get minus of M1 A omega squared equal to beta into b e raised to minus of I k plus b e raised to I k minus 2 a, which is equal to, which will come out to be 2 beta b cos k minus a. And similarly, for the mass M2, you will have minus of M2 b omega squared equal to minus of not minus plus 2 beta a cos k a minus b. so which I call as the equation number 13 and 14, 13 for my M1 and 14 for M2. So, the equation number 13 and 14, if we rearrange it, you can it can be rewritten as m1 omega squared minus 2 beta into A plus 2 beta into cos k A B equal to 0 and 2 beta cos k A plus m2 omega squared minus 2 beta into B equal to 0. So, both these expressions, expression 15a and 15b is a set of linear equations, and therefore, they will give a non-vanishing solution of A and B only if the determinant of coefficients A and B vanishes, right. So, we take evaluate the determinant of them, and that will be coming to be m1 m2 omega raised to 4 minus 2 beta into m1 plus m2 omega squared plus 4 beta squared sin squared k A equal to 0, or you will get the expression as you can see in the image there, omega squared is equal to beta into 1 by m1 plus m2 plus or minus beta into root of 1 by m1 plus 1 by m2 the whole square into 4 sin squared k A by m1 m2. So, how is it different from the one which we derive for the monatomic lattice? So, in the linear diatomic lattice, for every k value there are two frequencies associated, which is denoted by omega plus and omega minus, corresponding to plus and minus sign in the equation number 16. There in the case of monatomic lattice also you can always have a plus and a minus expression when we calculate the omega, but not for the omega squared, right. So, there the omega squared is equal to root 2 beta by m into 2 sin squared k by 2, and from there only we calculated the expression for omega plus and omega minus. So, here in this case so now our aim is to plot the dispersion plot, right. So, if we need to plot the dispersion plot, you already know that this expression, this dispersion plot is going to be between omega and k, omega in the y axis and k in the x axis. So, definitely you have two different points, you need two n points, k equal to 0 and k equal to pi by 2a, because that is those are the two boundaries of the first Brillouin zone. So, omega plus, you have omega plus which is corresponding to the plus sign in the omega squared, and the minus sign in the omega squared will lead into omega minus. So, omega plus at k equal to 0, as you can see there, will give rise to root of 2 beta into 1 by m1 plus 1 by m2, right. And omega plus at k equal to pi by 2a can be simplified into beta into 1 by m1 plus 1 by m2 plus beta into 1 by m1 minus 1 by m2 the whole raised to half, or which is equal to root of 2 beta by m1. And now we need to calculate the expression for omega minus, similarly at 0 and pi by 2a. And k equal to 0, omega minus will come to be 0, right, because the two parts of the equation cancel as you can see there. And the omega minus at k equal to pi by 2a will come to be root of 2 beta by m2. Now, our task is to plot the expression for plot the dispersion plot. So, we know already the n points k equal to 0 and k equal to pi by 2a. So, let us plot it. the branch which is shown in the red line in the image there, we call we have the omega minus, which was having a 0 at k equal to 0, and then the correspondingly at k equal to pi by 2a you are having root of 2 beta by m2. So, therefore, the red branch there in the dispersion plot, and with the omega plus branch you will plot the blue line there, which is ranging from root of 2 beta into 1 by m1 plus 1 by m2 to root of 2 beta by m1, and we call each of them to distinguish each of them, we call them as optic branch and the acoustic branch. So, now if we question is that if we do an experiment on a lattice vibration, and if we are asked to identify the optic and the acoustic branch, how will you do that? What is the easier way to do? The easier way to do will be to check what is happening at k equal to 0, because you know that at k equal to 0 an acoustic branch will have omega equal to 0, and in optic branch omega will have a finite value for the in the dispersion plot for an optic branch. So, therefore, the point of distinction between the branches is at k equal to 0. Now, in the equation number 15, if we substitute omega equal to 0 at k equal to 0, which gives a equal to b, or the amplitude of motion of both the atoms with masses m1 and m2 are the same and in the same direction. Therefore, the molecules consisting of m1 and m2 oscillates like in a rigid body, which means it is as a similar to a longitudinal sound wave propagation. Whereas, if we substitute the expression for omega, which we got at which is root of 2 beta into 1 by m1 plus 1 by m2 at k equal to 0, we will get m1a plus m2b equal to 0. So, what is the significance of that? This means that the atoms in this system is going to behave like a center of mass system. The two atoms which we denoted by the atom m1 and the m2 move in and out of phase, and one can denote it as we see in the image there. In one of the image you see the two different kind of atoms, which is denoted by the dark filled circle and the open circle. The filled and the open circle, if they move in this one thing on all of them move in the same direction, which you call as the acoustic, and in the optical branch you will see that both of them are moving in like a center of mass system, or they are moving to with optical and with in two different directions. Now, so now we are essentially talking about two different classes of vibrations, right, which is about the acoustical branch and the optical branch. We will see more into the acoustical and the optical branch in the next session. Thanks for watching this session. See you next time.